Well, what's going on, social media family? Once again, it is on this 13th day of September. Woo, it is another Wellness Wednesday
Yes,
with
sir.
my good brother, Edward J. Brown from Positive Choices Counseling Service. And if you are a part of the Jaguar Nation, you probably need to sit down on somebody's couch and have a word with them about
Woo!
something. We were just talking about that.
Yeah, yeah. It ain't easy being a Jaguar these days.
It is not at all, as unfortunately the 23 season has begun with us being 0-2. And we're
Yes,
getting ready to
sir.
play another game on the bluff this Saturday against a very tough opponent, the Alabama A&M Bulldogs. And there's some people who need some counseling, some mental help, and a whole bunch of other stuff when it comes down to Jaguar football. But we are believing for
We here.
victory on the bluff this Saturday. If not, oh my goodness, you're gonna have to
I
call
can't tell you
somebody.
the last time the Jags went 0-3, brother. So we'll see.
I can. And the name of the coach was Stump Mitchell.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Who was going to bring the Jags to the NFL level? That's
Uh,
what he
and
said.
uh, and I can tell you what happened to Stump Mitchell. He uh
I
he
remember
found out
that.
he was a
Let's
little
go,
bit not
Jags.
not tall enough to ride on the Jaguar ride.
Well, we deserve a decent product, and with the amount of talent we have on this team, man, we should be doing better than we're doing. So,
Yes, yes, yes.
I figure that either Dooley's gonna get it together, or Dooley will be out the door. Because one thing that we say, there ain't no pity with the Jags. So,
Oh
I
no.
mean, we talking about the Jags for a minute as we get started tonight, but we expect a better product on the field than what we've been getting. So, if he's
That
not the
part right
man for the
there.
job, then let's bring somebody in. All right, real Jaguar,
He said, "Let's go, let's
let's
go."
go. That's right, let's go.
So it is
So,
Wellness Wednesday, where a healthy you is a better
it's
you
a
because
better
your
you.
mental health matters. And family, we do this every Wednesday where we have conversations about mental health because suicide and depression is at an all-time high when it comes
Yeah.
down to communities of colors. But we're here to tell you that you can get in touch with people like Positive Choices Counseling Service, and let me go ahead and put that up there while I'm talking about it. That's how you get in touch with Positive Choices. You go to positivechoicescounseling.org and you can get all the information you need to help you if you feel like you need to deal with some mental issues. And guess what? Mental issues, counseling issues, let me rephrase that. Let me not call them mental issues. Let's call them issues where you need to sit down and talk with somebody. Because when you say mental, people say, I ain't crazy.
Right,
And, you
exactly.
know,
Exactly.
but you still need somebody sometime to talk to. You might be
Hmm.
dealing with grief issues. You might be
Hmm.
dealing with the cares of life. Some of us, the pressures of life, you need to sit down and talk to people. Some people, they need somebody to talk to because they're in school and they ain't passing tests and seems like they're
Yeah,
not
absolutely.
comprehending the
Or just the
lessons. They
pressures
need
involved with being in school. The pressures
right.
involved
They
with being in school.
they need somebody to talk to. Sometimes your children are dealing with bullying. They're dealing with
Hmm.
situations at their school that they need somebody professional to sit down and talk to. And that's why I'm
Absolutely.
here every Wednesday with Wellness Wednesday, Positive Choices Counseling Services, and positivechoicescounseling.org. My good friend, brother Edward J. Brown. And listen,
Yeah.
all you gotta do is turn on the TV. If it's not
Yeah.
impeachment, it's a mass shooting. If it's not a mass shooting, it's an
Yes,
earthquake,
indeed.
a hurricane, a tornado, something that is literally wrecking people's lives that that makes it that you go through anxiety. You go through things that say, "Oh my God, how will I make it?" And that's why
Mm.
we're here because your
Yeah,
mental health matters. With no
absolutely.
further ado, my brother Edward J. Brown.
Well, it's always a pleasure to be here with you, my brother, every Wednesday for Wellness Wednesday because, mental health is a very important aspect of life that unfortunately we only shed a light on when it's too late. But you and I have taken a proactive approach instead of a reactive approach by giving, invaluable information, by giving individuals opportunity to call in and ask questions. We're here every Wednesday because we're committed to this. Last night I had a chance to participate in a forum by the Southern Poverty Law Center out of Jackson.
Mm.
They were at Alcorn, and it was an incredible evening. And one of the panelists told me this reminded me of a show on A Different World. The students were involved, and we were talking about the importance of young people in politics in the election. Well, after the whole evening was over, a young lady came up to me and she asked me, she said, "Can I do an interview with you? I want to interview." And I said, "Okay." And this is what she asked me. What do you believe is one of the largest obstacles facing young people in college today? I said, well, I don't know if I can put just one, but I'll pick one for you for the sake of time. And that's kind of what I want to talk about tonight. And that is the people that are around you that you think is going to take this journey called life with you. We give these people too much of ourselves. We take on too much of them in the development of who we are as a person. What I want you to think about is some of the things that you were so stressed about, some of the things that you were so worried about in high school. Does this girl like me? Are these group of guys going to really be my friends? Things that you thought were extremely important that today you may not even remember where those people are. You may not even know what they're into. Tonight, I want to talk about the people that are in your lives that may not be there for the entire journey. You know, we talk about people who are involved in our lives who are there for a season. They're there for a season. So we need to talk about what that means when we say a person is in our lives for a season. It does not mean that this person is not loved. It does not mean that this person is not important to you. It does not mean that you don't care for this individual. What it means is that you have to look at, is this person with us for the long haul? Now, you may want that person to be, see, that's why this is going to be one of these topics that's going to take probably more than one show.
Come on.
Because we can talk about how we want a person to be in our lives for the journey, but they may not want to be in our lives for the journey. What do you do with
correct.
that?
That's correct.
So when we start looking at the impact that people have on our lives as we proceed through this thing we call the life cycle, you have to ask yourself, who is this person and why are they important in my life? What contribution, what asset? Because I tell people all the time, there's one commandment about relationships that is non-negotiable. And that is, a relationship should enhance your life in some way. Period.
Come on,
It should
speak
not
on it.
hinder. It should not restrict. It should not cause deficits. A relationship should enhance your life in some way. And if you get to the point in a relationship that it is not enhancing your life, it may be time to revisit that relationship. Now, let me tell you why this
check
topic
yourself
became
before you wreck yourself.
Yeah, this is why this topic became very relevant today. I have some young people who are college students, and now these young people are leaving home, and some of their friends may come with them from their hometown, and all of a sudden, being in college, these people that you do your entire educational career is beginning to act a little different. They're beginning to be not that same person that you remembered. That's because when they got to college, they were children, adolescents. Now, having that sense of independence, having that sense of responsibility, thrust them into young adulthood. So now what you begin to see is what type of adult this young brother is going to be, what type of adult this young lady is going to be, instead of what type of adolescent they were.
Correct.
Well, that applies to almost every other relationship in our life. People serve a particular role. They put themselves in places in your life that we become comfortable with. But what happens when the change starts to happen and that person seems a little different than they used to be? That person no longer is that same person that was that support system for you. Now they're harder to find. Or when you do get in touch with them, they don't seem to care as much as you thought they did. The only constant in life is change.
Correct.
So people have a tendency to change. You are not going to always have the same circle that you had at certain parts of the life cycle. I'll show you what I mean.
Correct.
The brothers that I was in college with are not the brothers that I hang out with these days. I have one or two
Speak on it.
that are still my brothers from college. But that was a time in my life where that relationship was relevant. Now, at this point in the life cycle, I find that I have a different group of people who contribute positive energy to my life. We have to stop trying to drag people to parts of our lives that they no longer are supposed to be a part of.
Come on,
that's
speak
the
on
hard
that.
part. That's the hard part. We find ourselves dragging people into certain areas, trying to make them more responsible than they're ready to be in their lives.
Correct.
You know where we see a lot of this at? We see a lot of this with athletes.
Mm-hmm.
This different than playing football in your neighborhood. Now you're making $60 million, but you're still hanging out with the guys that want to smoke weed, want to tote guns, and you're in a different place right now, or you should be in a different place.
Right.
John Morant. I don't know that brother. But what I do know is if Brother Dupree, you are my brother, I would expect you to say, yo, man, you might need to chill. I think this might not be a good move for you to be waving this gun and then let alone you videotape me and release the video to the public.
Come on, because that's not the definition of a true friend.
No, and that's not someone that may be a part of this part of the life cycle for you.
Correct.
And that's the hard part for us as individuals to accept. We have a tendency not to want to let people go. Now, and that's because we always think that's so final. It's not final.
Come on.
It's not final. It just means that instead of us hanging out 7 days a week, I may only see you 7 days out of the month.
Correct.
Because now my priorities change. I am a big fan. Anyone who knows me, who've ever seen me, I am a huge fan of Muhammad Ali. Muhammad Ali has a quote that says, "The man who thinks at 50 the way he thought at 30 wasted 20 years of his life." You find yourself
That's correct.
with people in your life that they still think at 20, now they're 30, and now they're 40, and now they're 50, and they still think the same way, they still act the same way. You know, we always laugh about it. You don't want to be that old man or that old woman in the club. You don't want to be that. So what you find as we evolve is we create our own little circles, our own little niches. We have
Very true.
game nights now. And yes,
This is true.
there are times that we go out to the club or, you know, to a concert or whatever. Absolutely.
Right.
But with every part of the life cycle should come wisdom and knowledge.
Come on. And evolution.
And evolution. We should evolve to the next stage.
Come
Brother
on.
Dupree, you are now a silver fox, and you are not the same individual. You don't think the same as you did when you were in your 20s. Before you got all of this.
Yeah, right. I had to bring the gray beard in so they could see we really are silver foxes.
We silver foxes, that's right. So, but what we have a tendency to do is we have a tendency to try to hold on to parts of the life cycle that we've outgrown.
That you should let go.
And as a therapist, it is only part of what we call self-actualization, which is becoming of the best you can be at that particular point in your life cycle. So at my birthday was a few weeks ago, I made 58. At 58, I have to be better than I was at 48.
Come on.
Or 38.
Come on.
And definitely 28.
Hold it.
Now,
definitely you got to hold it. You really got to be better than you was at 57.
At 57, that's right. Or I've wasted a year of my life.
Come on, speak on it.
So when we're sitting here talking about moving through the life cycle, you have to get to the point where you say, okay, it's time for me to go now. And this is something that I had a talk with some of my friends about, and they were laughing. They was like, man, we never really thought, and we don't think like you think. That's why you the therapist. I say, maybe so. Watch this, Brother Dupree. Me and you, right here, right now, we could get G'd up and go to any club we want and party till 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the morning.
We could.
You want to know the difference?
Come on.
The recovery time is going to be a lot. Now, keep in mind, in our 20s, we could go till 4, 5 o'clock in the morning,
wake up the next morning,
sleep, get up at noon, wash your car, take a shower, go do some things. And next thing you know, Saturday, we right back at it at 10 o'clock back in the club again.
Yes, sir.
But now the recovery time is a little bit longer.
Come on, speak on it.
We can go and we'll stay out till 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the morning. When you get up Saturday, it's going to be 1 o'clock p.m. And you're definitely not going to be feeling like moving about again in the club later. It's different. That is the difference.
Correct.
People are saying, oh, man, you old. You can't. No, it's not that. Here's the deal. I know that around 11, 12 o'clock, I need to be wrapping it up, especially if I'm planning on going out the next night. We have different, the knowledge base that goes with being 20, 30, 40, and 50. And there's this thing going around now. Oh, 50 is the new 40 and 40 is the new 30. And you know, that depends on the individual.
Correct.
But here's the thing you have to understand, because we started talking about people not being able to go with us on this journey through the life cycle. Everybody is not intended to be at every stage with you. So now, this is what you find. You find you have those friends that they want to party and they want to go out every night. Can you not be friends with those folks? Yes. Those are truly your friends. These are truly people who are important to your life. But you have to be smart enough to say, you know what? I'm not going to make it tonight, man. I was with y'all last night. I'm still recovering from that. Oh, man, you old man. Yeah, call me what you want. I'll be right here. You know, y'all have fun. People have a tendency, and this is where I'm getting ready to step on some toes. I'm so
Step on them.
This is the part of the show. No, this is the part of the show where you get your bell ready and your clap. And this is it. That absolutely happens when you find people who find Christ. Now,
Woo!
these are the folks. Look, I told you. I told you. These are the folks that you used to shut the club down with. Now, they look at you.
They found
and
Jesus.
And they tell you, so you still going in Satan's house? Like, what you talking about? I go to the same club me and you used to go to a couple of years ago. Well, I'm in the house of the Lord. Well, okay. I said, because that's wonderful. Now, I'm happy for you. And that's a wonderful thing. But we have these individuals from time to time that tend to be judgmental.
Right.
So I want everybody that's watching this podcast, that's paying attention, to understand you have 5 fingers.
Come on.
Each one of these 5 fingers are individual, but they're part of one hand.
Come on.
That's how you can be. I have friends, brothers that I don't speak to every day. We've been knowing each other since the 2nd grade. Some of us been knowing each other, since the 5th grade. But we are all brothers, and we all have separate lives.
Come on.
Now, these are guys that we used to hang out with every day. Every day,
as a friend of mine said on Sunday, because life be lifing.
Yeah. So, do I not love these brothers? Absolutely. Do we talk every day? No, we don't. Or do they have different things going in their life? Yes, they do.
Come on, speak on
the journey that I took, they were not intended to go on with me on some of these journeys.
Ooh.
And that's the part that people have a hard time believing. And since they're really my friends, none of them have a problem with my journey the same way I have no problem with theirs. As a matter of fact, we encourage one another.
Come on, speak on it.
And it's so interesting now. I'm having an epiphany as I sit here. These brothers that I'm talking about, and now I got to throw Brother Dupree in there. Here's the amazing thing. Every last one of us live in separate cities.
Come on.
Isn't that amazing? Yeah.
About some of us some of us anywhere from 2 to 4 hours away from each other.
That's right. I have a brother that lives in Houston. I have a brother I have 2 that live in Houston. I got 1 that live in Dallas. I got 3 or 4 that live in Louisiana. And these are my brothers. And we are just as close. Distance does not change us. Now, here's the thing. There were guys that I went to college with that I saw every day. We hung out every day. I couldn't tell you where they are today.
Come on. And let's, because life, watch this. There's an evolution somewhere. And listen, since you brought up Jesus, I'm going to let you pause and catch your breath. And I'm going to speak on this.
We evolve. We evolve through the life cycle.
Right. In the Bible, it says, sometimes the people who start with you on the journey don't end the journey with you.
They don't
understand this. Right. Life has cycles and seasons, and the seasons don't always stay the same. And one thing you can put your bottom dollar on is something gonna change. Something gonna change.
Absolutely.
Something gonna listen.
Absolutely.
Look at us right now in HBCU football. Last year at this time, there was one name and one name only in HBCU football. That was Deion Sanders. Everybody was talking about Coach Prime. Well, Coach Prime done moved on from the SWAC in HBCU football, and now he's in the Pac-10. Life be lifing. And guess what? Everybody who came to Jackson State with Deion didn't leave Jackson State and go to Colorado with Deion. Doesn't mean they're not going to have a successful, productive life at Jackson State. Just means that time of their life has came and passed. And sometimes you got to look at folks and say, guess what? Your time, your season, your moments with me have came and have passed.
Mhm.
Doesn't mean I don't wish you well at where you're at, but where you at ain't where
Absolutely.
I'm at, and I wish you well where you're at because I got to move on and get to where I'm at. That's what I had to say,
Well,
Brother Brown.
and that's nothing wrong with that. Here's the part that we seem to, as a behaviorist, people seem to have a problem with.
Speak on it.
What happens when that individual that you truly love, that individual that you truly desire to take that next step with you, doesn't go?
Woo.
Now, and here's the thing, and these are things on Wellness Wednesday we have to talk about. And this is the part that really shakes us up. And they don't appear to be happy that you're going there.
Woo.
See, that's where we begin to get anxiety, we begin to get depression, and we start to look, and then we question the validity or the genuineness of that particular individual.
Come on.
And I don't want us to do that. I don't want you, when you start to evolve, when you start to elevate, and the people that you care about are not taking that next step with you, I do not want you to feel bad about continuing to move on.
Come on.
Because we have a tendency to do that. And the worst thing you could do is to feel yourself elevating, and the people that you want to come with you don't come, so you stop elevating. You stop your growth. You stop moving forward. You stop, building. You stop that self-actualization that you have going on. You stop it because it makes them feel uncomfortable. I have a presentation that I do about eagles. And what I always say is, eagles don't fly with pigeons. Eagles do not hang out with pigeons.
Come on.
Because an eagle it's a born hunter. It's the king of the sky.
Come on.
So now you can't fly like an eagle because the pigeons are like, look, you always showing off. Why you got to have your wings so big? So now you're trying to keep your wings in. And why you got to fly so high? You don't have to fly that high. We ain't up there. We all down here. So now you start hanging out with the pigeons. The pigeons are eating off the ground, so you eat off the ground.
Come on.
Instead of being that eagle that you are. If you start to evolve and you start to elevate and you start to reach plateaus that you set for yourself, and people do not go with you, you cannot stop your growth to make them feel better. Because then what will happen is you won't feel good. You will not feel good. So what you have to do is say, listen, I have to go to this next level. In my heart and in my soul, I wish you well. I wish you come with me, but if you don't, I am still going.
Come on, speak on it.
I'm going to still go. And when I get there, trust me, I will welcome you if you come.
Come on.
You say something, Brother Dupree, that always, always makes me smile, and it is so relevant right now.
Come on, speak on.
Sometimes these people we care about, they want you to do well.
Come on.
They just don't want you to do what?
Better than
as
you.
Well as them.
Right.
They don't want
you can do good. Just don't do better than me. Listen.
Right. And we have a tendency, we find people who continue to push us and to help us grow and to help us evolve and to help us build on top of ourselves. And those are the people we say, I have something in common with them. Now, I'm going to put a pin in that, and I'm going to show you through an example. I met this brother right here at a coffee shop. We said last week.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you, Denise Jolivet.
Yes, sir.
She introduced me to you. And immediately you said, yo, man, we're going to do something together. I said, okay.
Right.
And I never reached out. You never reached out. But eventually the timing was right. And you said, Let's do something. And
Right.
we put Mental Health Monday together.
Correct.
And we did almost a whole year of Mental Health Monday until Alcorn State University put my classes on Monday.
Right.
So then we did Wellness Wednesdays. Here's the thing.
Hold on, Brother Brown. Hold on.
Okay.
I got to say this because folks got to catch this.
Mm-hmm.
And during the whole process that we were putting this thing together, we PYP. We played, I played, play your position. I played my position. He played his position. I have absolutely no knowledge of clinical counseling and what goes on in that world. I trust him completely. I trust him completely in what he says. When he tells me I need to look up something and post it on the screen, I post it. And we work together in a tangent where, guess what? And folk, y'all need to really catch this because I'm going somewhere with this for a reason. When folk look good because they calling and in their place where they flow and go, let them flow and go. Let them flow and let them go. Because if you with them, guess what? Them looking good look good on you too. But for some odd reason, I ain't figured this out yet. For some odd reason, folk be hating because you looking good. Guess what? If you are my friend, Brother Edward J. Brown, and somebody calls me and say, man, I was looking, listen, we done did this, hold it. Just to let y'all know, if y'all think we just hear podcasts playing, we not here for play. We done took this podcast to WBLS, the largest African-American radio station in the nation in New York City. We done been on WBLS with Brother Fatim Muhammad, who is with Brother Al Sharpton on a daily basis. Correct. This thing has went places that we didn't even see it going. But guess what? We've always been humble to say to each other, we're going to continue to do this because if we just help one person, we've served our purpose. See, you got folk out there, if they can't talk to 10 million folk, they don't even want to talk to one folk. See, you got certain folk out there, if they can't be at the head table, they won't be at the back table. But guess what I learned a long time ago? As he said, we are silver foxes. But there was a time I had to crawl because I didn't know how to walk.
All right now. You know, we get to that point. We get to that point in the life cycle where you sit back and you look and you say, okay, what's next for me? Okay. Now stop. You notice I didn't say what's next for us. You say what's next for me. Now, if you are in a relationship, you have a family. Even within that family, you have to say what's next for me, because I have to be the best version of me for us. You see, there is a process, there is a growth process that we have to talk about, and where I don't want you to feel selfish because you are in tune with self.
Come on.
That is not what we're talking about. What we're talking about is the self-evolution, the growth of me in spite of my circumstances.
Come on, speak.
In spite of my circumstance. I'm talking about, this podcast is about me and my personal growth in spite of certain circumstances. I remember growing up and having a group of brothers, and we would sit outside. And let me set this up real briefly for you. We would sit outside till 2, 3, 4 in the morning. There was a meter, like a gas meter, and we would sit on this meter. Now, all of our apartments were in front of the meter, so your mother or whoever could look outside and see us sitting on that meter at, we're 10, 11 years old, and we're talking about, well, when I get up, when I get grown, I'm going to be this. And we were just talking about each other, just kids being kids. Every one of those brothers, I remember one would say, well, I'm going to be an NFL player. And we would say things like, well, what team you gonna play for? You know, we never said, well, you ain't gonna be no football player. Was it what team you want to play for? Or if somebody said, I want to be an astronaut, said, well, you're not scared of heights? Or whatever it was. We always encouraged one another. We always pushed one another to be the best. Now, when we all started to grow, we started to go in different directions. We went to different schools. But never did I ever say, well, I'm not going to be the best me I can be because he said I can't. Or they don't think I can. Be very careful about your circle. I see Ms. Broussard says, I love my circle. As you should.
You're supposed
to. If you
to.
do not love your circle, I question why they're your circle.
Come on, Houston, we have a problem.
Yeah. If you don't love the circle you run in, why are you running in that circle? And we are so timid in our this new society we in because it's very fragile. People are very fragile. We don't speak our mind because we're afraid of the repercussions. But as long as you are not, here's that gem in this podcast. It is okay to choose self as long as you are never malicious in your intent towards someone else.
Come on, speak on that.
So for me to say I am pro me does not mean I'm anti you.
Ooh, that was good.
All right. I'm pro me. That does not mean I'm anti you. I'm going this way. All right. Notice I'm pointing up. I'm going this way.
Come on.
If you're going this way, I don't have no problem with that. That's you.
Right.
And if you're going that way, I wonder why, and I question why, but I'm not going to go that way with you, and I'm not going to go this way. I'm intending to go this way. And we have to be careful of individuals in our lives that do not take these journeys with us, that they don't put rocks in your pocket while you try to swim across the river. Okay?
Hold it. Say that. Say, whoa. I was ringing the bell. Say that again for the folk in the back that didn't hear. Be careful around folks who put what?
Put rocks in your pocket while you try to swim across the river. You cannot allow individuals to make your journey more difficult than it's already going to be. Life makes things difficult. I don't need you making them difficult for me.
Come on.
Now, I am here as my students are saying, they were saying the other day, Doc, you here for the smoke. Yeah, I'm here for all the smoke.
All the smoke.
Because I want everyone that watched this podcast to be okay with choosing you, and anyone that that's not okay with that, you got to question why. Your intent is not malicious. Again, I'll say it one more time. Just because I'm pro me does not mean I'm anti you.
Come on, Brother Brown. You know, the truth about it is sometimes we got to cut ties. Hey, I got a good friend of mine from out of Memphis, Tennessee, Anthony Q. Y'all need to Google the song. It's called Cut Ties. That's what you need to put. Every once in a while, you need to listen to Cut Ties and say to yourself, guess what? I got to cut ties, because where you're going is not where I need to go, or where I will grow or be anything but subservient to you and whatever your mission is. See, sometimes our missions go two different ways. And when that happens, I wish you the best on your journey, but this is where our journey ends and your journey begins, and my journey begins going in a different direction. Guess what? We can win, and we ain't got to be going the same way. At last time I checked, there's more than one way to get from my house to your house, or from your house to Jackson, Mississippi, or to get to Atlanta, Georgia. Just because you on a certain road don't mean you on the wrong road. It's just you on the road that you're on.
hmm And you can't allow anyone to make you feel a particular way about your achievements.
Sheesh.
You see, because nobody knows your journey. They see the outcome and they see where you are, but they don't know the journey. I'll give you a story that about me that happened. Oh Lord, almost 20 years ago, maybe a little more. I remember going out to the restaurant and I ordered a steak, and the steak was very good. And I'm usually that person that take my leftovers with me. But I wasn't home, I was out of town. And I remember there was a little piece of steak left, and the guy said, "Would you like to take it with you?" And I said, "No, I'm good." And I remember one of my friends sitting with me said, "Oh, you big time now. You could just leave steaks all on the plate." And I remember thinking, I thank God every day that I like potted meat and crackers,
Come on.
because there was a time when I ate a lot of potted meat and crackers. And sometimes it was out of necessity. So I thank God that I like it, because it was no thing for me to eat it. So now that I've been blessed with having to go on my journey the way I wanted to, I can eat whatever I want when I want. If I want ribeye, if I want Wagyu beef or whatever, salmon or whatever it may be, I'm blessed to be able to have that. But if you come to my house today, there is still
Come on.
a can of potted meat and some crackers. Now I've upgraded to Ritz instead of saltine, but it's okay nonetheless. At the end of the day, no one knows my journey. They only see the end part of what they consider is the end, because my journey never ends. And I don't worry about what people think about my journey and what I'm planning and where I have to go. It is something that I'm doing for my own self-actualization. You keep hearing this come up. It's a fancy way of saying being the best version of myself that I can be. So we start thinking, these individuals who did not make this journey with me, do I look at them with my pinky out and my nose turned up? No.
Come on.
Because that's not part of my journey.
Come on.
My journey is solely about me and the people that I love. I am trying to make sure that I am the best version of me, and that when the day God rewards me with my reward to go home, that I have left positive imprints on this earth that we live. So you ask yourself, I'm not going to do this because my people feel bad if I start to be. Why? These are your achievements. These are your gifts. Show them. Live them. They're yours. If these people were intended to go with you, they would be with you.
I truly believe, Brother Brown, the truth about the matter, and I hate to say this because a lot of folks will probably be like, yeah, he's right. Sadly, and it's throughout history, it's throughout scriptural writings, sometimes your biggest enemy are the closest people to you. I'm going to quickly go through a story that most of us all know about Joseph. And most of the time when we hear preachers preach it, they talk about from the pit to the palace. But you have to understand, the reason Joseph got in the pit was because his own brothers who were jealous of his gift. See, your gift to make room for you, but your gift to bring haters who will try to bring about your demise because they are jealous that you have the gift and they don't. So you have to always watch your six. You got to watch your back. You got to watch your front. You got to watch your side to side, because haters, let me tell you about a hater. Most haters really ain't mad about what you doing. They mad that it's you doing it. And here's why they mad that it's you doing it, because they can't do what you do. And guess what? It's nothing wrong with that. And I tell people all the time, I've finally come to the conclusion, out of all the billions of people that are on this planet Earth, there's only one Joe Dupree Anderson.
All right.
God only made one. And there's only one me that can do what I do. And guess what? There's only one you that can do what you do. And I respect the you when you're doing what you do. Because guess what? I'm glad that you do what you do because I can't do what you do. And it needs to be done. See, I don't understand why people get so caught up with, well, why he got that job? Why this? They give you let me give you my Ricky Smile. They give you the prune face. Yeah.
You know,
Why him? Why her? And it's prevalent with women. Women will critique you from head to toe. Women will critique each other from head to toe. Why she wearing those shoes? That shoes don't go with that outfit.
Here's my synopsis of what it's like and what we should do in regards to accepting our role and our places in this life cycle.
Come on, speak on it.
There was, and again, I'm writing this in my journal, and I laughed at myself. I said, because this is a great example of how everyone, no matter what you believe your role is important. I had this vision of these 4 chefs, and they're in this kitchen, and they're all putting together this incredible soup. I mean, they're talking about we should put this in it, and they're going, and all of their little helpers are around chopping up stuff, getting the best cuts of veal and beef and turkey and the leanest pieces of pork, and they're going to create this ultimate soup. And all of a sudden, after hours and hours of preparation, this soup is complete. And the 4 chefs are standing over this pot. And they're standing around with all of these sous chefs and these other individuals that contributed to putting the soup together. And then all of a sudden, one of the chefs looked at the other 3 and said, "Does anybody have a spoon? Does anybody have a spoon?" And I just, in my mind, I picture this old dude standing off to the side. His job probably was to sweep up the kitchen, probably pulled out a little plastic spoon out the wrapper and said, "I got one." Now, at that point, who's the most important person in the room? The 4 incredible chefs?
Come on.
Or the little old dude in the corner with the spoon? At the end of the day, your role in someone's life may be just that person to stand back and go, that's your role. But we have a tendency to believe that because it's not the most glamorous part, that it's not very important.
Come on, speak on it.
And we got to change that. We got to stop looking at people to do things in our lives that's not their role. We have to stop expecting people to come along in a part of our journey that's not their part. My grandmother, when my grandfather passed, I thought my life was over. I thought we were going to just be destroyed as a family. The head of the family is gone. And my grandmother stopped her grieving to deal with her overgrown grandson to say, "You have everything you need." He made sure to put it in you when you were growing up and even as a man. You just got to be ready to use it. You can't rely on him. He was not intended to go on this part of your journey with you. And I had never thought about it like that. It was not his part to go with me into my 40s and my 50s.
Come on.
That's not his journey.
Right.
when you look at you moving on, and as we start to wrap up this podcast tonight, when you start to look at this journey that you're on and this journey that you're taking, be comfortable. Be comfortable and be okay with everyone is not going to take the journey with you.
That part.
Let them play their role. Now, here's the thing. It's going to be individuals who's going to continue to evolve that you're not going to go on the journey with them.
Come on.
You may want to go. They may not want you. They may not need you to go on that part of the journey. Because I remember the day I left New Orleans to come to Natchez. I remember that day. I had 4 of my very good friends. No, 5 actually. Loaded up the U-Haul, and when we got to Natchez, they unloaded the U-Haul, and before they left that day, each one of them said, man, come back to New Orleans. Don't come to Mississippi. Please leave Mississippi. And I said, this is where I'm supposed to be. And that was 25 years ago. I am still close to each one of those brothers. Not as close to some of them as I was. You know, I may need to make sure their journey is still good. My journey is still, it's still going on.
Come on.
My journey is still going on. And I'm okay with the people that's on this journey with me because I know that's who's supposed to be there. It's a lot of people I would love to still have. I would love to still have my father, my grandfather, my grandmother. I would still, my uncles. I would still love to have some of these individuals with me today. But that was not their role. Find the people around you who are contributing positively to your journey.
Come on,
and
speak
embrace
on that.
them, nurture them, welcome them. That's it. Welcome them. Now, here's the thing. Sometimes their role in your life might be to say, you know what? I don't think that's a good idea.
Come on.
I don't think that's a good idea. That might be their role. Your role may be that person that see things from a different perspective than them. Whatever the other person's role is, make sure that it's not something that's being forced. You can't force a person to go with you. You can't force a person to be where you are. I remember that brother, man, came on a couple of weeks ago. He was watching the podcast and he called in. And that brother called in for one reason and one reason only. He felt the urge to thank Brother Dupree for his part in where that brother was at this time. I don't remember the brother's name, but I remember the conversation because he said,
it was Jeff
you
Fox.
gave me a shot.
It was Jeff Fox.
You gave me a shot. You did. He said, you supported me. You taught me, whatever. He was very, very, very grateful for your role in where he was at this point in his career. Right now, before we close out of here, know this. Choosing you doesn't make you selfish.
Come on.
It's called self-preservation. It's called choosing you doesn't make you selfish.
Come on.
Because there is no malicious intent. Let me show you malicious intent. You bring a box of chicken into the room. You take the big piece out the box.
Come on.
And you leave the rest for everybody else in the room. How is that selfish or how is that malicious? No.
Come on.
Let me show you selfish and malicious. You bring a box of chicken in the room, you take what you want out, then you take the rest of the chicken and throw it in the garbage.
Where nobody gets chicken but you.
Nobody gets any but you. That's selfish and that's malicious. We got to stop teaching people that, oh, you selfish. Why am I selfish? Because you protecting yourself. I'm protecting my peace.
Right. PYP.
I'm protecting my peace. And because I won't let you disturb my peace, I'm selfish. Then I'm going to be as selfish as I can be.
Well, you know how we always say,
what'd you say?
You know, in case of depressurization in the cabin,
put your
there's gonna be some masks. Right. You better put your mask on first. Because guess what? If you can't help nobody else breathe if you can't breathe.
If you done passed out. Exactly.
Right.
You know, and I hear the, oh no, I'm gonna put my baby mask on. Okay. Now you done put your baby mask on and you done passed out, and your baby can't help you put your mask on. We have gotten this thing about selfishness, and we have a misconception of what selfishness is. We are not talking about something being done with malicious intent. We're not talking about that. What we're talking about is choosing self and being okay with the journey of evolution and the fact that everybody may not be intended to go with us. We're okay with that. I wish you well in your journey. And if it's anything I can do to help you, don't hesitate to let me know. But right now, I'm doing this for me. It's funny. I was like, I need to go to the gym because I want to work out. And, you know, and one day, one of my friends said, man, why you go to the gym? Who you trying to look good for? I said, I'm trying to look good for me. Because I hear once you get buried in that earth for 3, 4, 5 months, you don't look good at all. So once you're in that coffin and they put you in the ground for a year or two, you don't look good at all. I said, man, I'm trying to be healthy. I'm trying to look good for me so that I can be healthy and I can be around for a long time to finish this journey that I'm trying to accomplish. I'm grateful for my brother. Man, you and I have done a lot of work. We've done a lot of things. And we have a whole lot more to do.
Yes, sir.
My brother is evolving and he's elevating. And
God is good.
I am pleased to be able to watch this evolution in this journey. I am so proud of this brother that I'm on this podcast with. He is truly an example of what an eagle is and how eagles fly high.
And I'm thankful for this brother. This brother don't know he got a big mental health task force that he gonna be about real soon, which will put more feathers in his hat. And listen, this man does a lot. He's a professor at Alcorn State University, the Alcorn State University, home of the Mighty Braves, and they only mighty until the Southern University Jaguars, the Grambling State Tigers show up. I ain't gonna try.
That's right.
Let me leave that alone.
You know what? I said enough for you. I say it all the time.
He's a great professor at a HBCU. He does so much for so many, you know, and I'm just glad that God blesses me to be in the company of wise counsel. This brother to me is wise counsel, because there's times I call him, I say, brother, I don't know up from down, left from right. How do you see it? And he always gives me a word that brings me back on course where I can see clearly how to make it through the fog. And sometimes listen, family, find you a lighthouse. Find you somebody in your life that's a lighthouse, because all of us got to navigate through some fog every once in a while. And I'm blessed that this brother is my friend and my lighthouse.
Hey, brother, as we always say, and I want to say it one more time, real slow, being pro you does not mean you anti anybody else.
Come on.
It's okay to be pro you. And if nobody else told you today, we love you. We'll see you next week. Peace.